pushing style lineup, they could theoretically look to round things off with like the Dragon Knight type pick if they want to go that route, but I feel like more likely going to try go for that more flashy mid-type hero.
Yeah, to me, I think this is very much just a skirmish-oriented lineup from VGP and Ranger.
Huh. So. And also TongFu.
With Clockwork and Timber. So I'm going to have to reconnect very quickly, but...
Prepare
That's all right. What do you...
buttons and it's a mid that can very comfortably buy a 4-staff as the first item, and if you're a little bit worried about the Clockwork because of that, then that's definitely the route that you can look towards.
So TongFu make an early move towards their own jungle, looking to protect it from the Bounty Hunter. They put down the Sentry Ward, which would scout Bounty moving past them, and that was the exact route that Bounty was looking to take, so they're well aware of a potential move from the Bounty, and also looking to make sure that Sentry's already there if they need to deward their pull camp.
Yeah, I love that they even tango the tree, like the way that people normally explain how to put down this deward is you cut down the little triangular tree and then you put the Sentry Ward right on top of the stump, and they've done exactly that. I don't know if they've used... Nobody has a Quelling Blade, so that's actually a Tango used somewhere, I think, for that.
Yeah, the Bane, I think, used one. But
yeah. But
not too big a problem. Bounty goes for a very defensive ward, which he plants from the tree so he won't get scouted, and will make his way to contest this rune. I think should be fine to contest this. Unlikely you put another sentry there, but will be a tough pickup.
Both heroes spamming, and okay, United is going to get it. Darkfight is going to give him one hit for his trouble.
Give him the slow, give him the oov.
Yeah, give him that oov. So it looks like Bounty is going to be free to go and do kind of whatever he wants here. He might actually consider going to try and block the small camp at the 30-second mark, but TongFu are actually already just on the move. Melody Lovers on the Lina and LPC on the Bane are both making their way over towards top lane, so that's going to leave Red solo on the Clockwork. Down bottom up against the Spirit Breaker, which should be a kind of a weird lane, honestly. I don't see that. I don't think there's a whole lot of kill potential here. With the Bounty Hunter rotating in, could be troublesome for the Clockwork, but Cogs is just such an amazing way to deal with these melee heroes.
Spirit Breaker is just going to keep giving right clicks, hope for some greater bashes. If they start trading right clicks and the Clockwork gets low, could see some kill potential. And there is an Orb of Venom here, so Red needs to be a little bit on the careful side.
No bash, no bash.
He went Rocket Flare level 1 as well, which is...
Yeah, and he's also shown that. He's actually flared one creep already, so... It is a pretty good way to secure last hits, especially given that he's pretty far behind on the base damage war here. It's 66 versus 59. So it can be a little bit difficult for the Clockwork to get CS. I think he has the slightly better animation, but yeah, if the Spirit Breaker is doing a good job, then it might be tough to get farm, and I think that's kind of what he's trying to adjust for with the first point Rocket Flare.
And whenever the two are both going for last hits, it's very much the Spirit Breaker who's more willing to trade blows with the high base armor, just the high raw EHP, and use that to his advantage if he's tanking creep waves.
Yeah, that was extremely weird mid. They've got the smoked line coming in from the side looking for this gank, but the Wind Ranger has 2 points up in the Shackle Shot already, and is just throwing shackles at the Shadow Fiend here. Whoa. It's going to end up latching. He walks away a little bit further. Dogfight's coming in, taking at the tower. LPC looking for a Nightmare, but will immediately get hexed up, but that's going to be the end of this gank over on the mid lane. Dust actually getting popped off, and Melody Lovers is in the neighborhood. Has the range and Light Strike array. Oh, the Nightmare dodges it. I think they've still got the damage for it, though. A couple of raises coming in from U9, and it is going to be your first blood.
They made it difficult for themselves.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Just up the difficulty settings, and well,
it's RTK style, right? It's the watch with. So oh well, they get the kill. Bounty Hunter not off to the greatest of starts, especially still level 1 for the time being. And that was a pretty big investment from VGP as well. They used some time on the Bounty Hunter, they used the smoke on the Lion, and they didn't get anything out of it. So I think TongFu are going to be pretty happy with that on the whole. Yeah,
the lanes seem really solid from TongFu. They're contesting the Bristleback's farm at the top lane. They even, I mean, it's not even that they force the line off the lane. I think VGP just decided they can't contest top lane, so Lion tries to gank mid, fails. Now he's back towards the bottom lane. And you're kind of zoning out a Clockwork who's already level 4. So at this point, Clockwork's pretty happy with how this lane has gone. And top lane, you've got a free farm in Timbersaw. So TongFu's lanes look really solid about now.
Yeah, and this is a lot of the weakness of the Bounty Hunter in general. Charge comes in, but Red gets the cogs down, opening up a little bit of space. James does have both of his spells available, but
not particularly close to that one.
No. It's weird. All of my movement and everybody's position is totally fine, but all of my animations are a little bit buggy. Are you getting that as well?
I seem to be getting most of the animations now. So every now and then, like a hero kind of glides along the map in perfect world fashion, but oh
well. I think we're all right, and hopefully we'll sort itself out.
For VGP right now, Bristleback's at Fountain Healing. Bounty Hunter's still level 1 roaming around the map. No one's really on the lanes getting much, apart from Wind Ranger maybe, who's kind of doing slightly better on CS compared to the Shadow Fiend. Not even really doing so, but Shadow Fiend got the kill. He had the first blood. This is a lane he's doing just fine in.
Yeah, and just Shadow Fiend in general always seems to do all right in these in any 1v1 situation, really. Even against heroes that give him a really hard time on CS early on, like a Viper, he just eventually gets his bottle and he just spams. So, 4-minute haste rune coming up here as well could be a little bit dangerous. Going to extend the Shadow Fiend's reach a lot. Lion's still pretty intent on looking for this kill bottom lane. And Dogfight's trying to end up inside of the cogs, I think, here. As they go in for Red, they've got the Hex, they've got the Charge, they've got the Earth Spike. Red's still not dead just yet, trying to turn on the Battery Assault, I think, and get the cogs down, looking for a little bit of a turnaround, but more auto attacks fly in. Ooh, and Lion with that new base damage is going to grab that kill. Yeah.
Push very deep under the tower. Yang may just have to go back to base and heal. Could salve up, but out of mana as well. We'll look to stay in this lane for a bit longer. Only barely getting that kill. The bash was needed, and even with the bash, they just barely get the kill, so...
Yeah. The bash was actually very fortunately timed in that it kind of stopped the wind-up on Clockwork Battery Assault. It's not very long, but just having to start it again, I feel like was a pretty big problem for Red, because that let the Spirit Breaker get an additional auto attack in that he might not have been able to otherwise.
It felt like a pretty low percentage play to go for, but it somehow worked out for VGP. Unfortunately, this is not working out for Yang, who's now getting caught around the Clockwork. He's trying to juke inside the creeps, but Red is just going to right-click him down if he has to. Has a Rocket Flare again soon, loses the Battery Assault. I don't know if he's got this kill anymore.
Yeah, Tango regen as well.
Hog's Rocket Flare, not enough damage. Okay. Okay. That was ultimately some nice juking from Yang, using the creeps to his advantage.
Bring around the Rosie. 2-man Earth Spike here on mid-raise coming out looking for James, but he's still up on high ground. It's that 4-minute haste rune causing problems. Dogfight's now in some trouble as well. Dust is going to get popped off, and he is going to be finished off by the Shadow Fiend. Now up to a killing spree already, less than 6 minutes in. Okay. Looks towards Lin, but both of his mid and long-range rays on cooldown for the time being, so just going to let him go.
And 6-minute rune coming up, so Wind Ranger will refill up and be able to sustain herself in this mid lane as Lin finds a DD as well. Not quite the playmaking capabilities of the haste rune which U9 got, but he needs to... I don't know, it's always hard. You want to say your mid hero needs to get involved when you're off to a bad start, but at some point Wind Ranger's just doing all she can in this mid lane when you've got a level 2 bounty hunter on the map. There's not really that easy comeback potential. Bristleback can't really fight because you're still level 5, and speaking of Bristleback, getting ganked out, they're going to chain on through. Not enough damage right off the bat. They're going to TP in the line as well, look to turn this one around. XL looking for some cool sprays, misses the chain on through, and then he gets shackled. There's Lin getting involved with the DD rune. TP is top, gets 2 kills for Vici Gaming Potential, and they get things started here, and it was the Wind Ranger rotation helping things out.
Yeah, it just goes to show the dangers of trying to take some of these fights under the tier 1 towers, especially against heroes like Lion and whatnot. Red actually in some trouble now again. Bottom lane, Dogfights and Yang looking for him. I think LPC considering the Nightmare. Doesn't know who exactly to target, just going to throw out a few more auto attacks. He's like, do I Nightmare the Clockwork? Do I try for the Deny? Do I Nightmare the Spirit Breaker? Do I Nightmare the Bounty Hunter? Is he level 3? Does he have Shuriken? Everything goes through your mind, didn't flash it, and they're like, oh, he's alive anyway. Okay, we're good. We're good.
And in the meanwhile, you've just suddenly got like 6 right clicks off in a row. And
yeah.
Other nice thing there for Clockwork is he did hit level 6 while that's going on. So he TP's home to heal, and now he can make a move towards one of these side lanes to help things out. Doesn't have a dust, so it may actually get scouted out walking towards his bounty hunter. And yep, he gets scouted out by an observer ward, and his level 6 also spotted. So this should not lead to too much here in the mid lane.
Yeah, so Clockwork probably not going to be able to get anything done. Lynn's just backing up for a bit of a block on the creeps. What do you make of the... Well, I was about to say what do you make of the Windranger's build, but she's actually now level 8, so kind of masks what she was going for. But it was actually a 3-1-1 a little bit earlier on, but the 2 kills top sort of gives her the points in the power shot. Bottom lane, Yang's going to get caught out, and that's actually where your hookshot ended up being thrown down. So Red not finding the kill that he was necessarily looking for on mid, but still getting something, and yeah, the Spirit Breaker is still a pretty juicy target at this stage. One
of those weird situations where the fact that he got scouted out mid probably led Spirit Breaker thinking he's safer than he really was, as Clockwork rotated through the jungle towards bottom lane when he maybe thought that Clockwork was just lingering in the fog or the trees at mid. So
yeah, there's a sentry ward down top lane, so Kabu knows that Dogfight is up here, which is a nice little bit of information. There is a charge making its way across. It looks like Yang's keen to try and get this kill. Does have the Nether Strike available as well. So if Kabu, for whatever reason, comes back into the lane, I think he's probably dead. Does have 3 points up in the Timber Chain, and does have 10 Magic Stick charges. And Yang actually gonna call off the chase there, just canceling the charge midway through the jungle.
One thing with Timbersaw, it is a very level-dependent hero, and that's where when they went for that Bristleback kill last time, it was level 5, didn't even have Chakram, just 3 points in Timber Chain is decent damage in itself, but you've got to hit the Timber Chain, and this hero really shines once he has, like, maxed out Whirling Death and Timber Chain. That's where he has that huge solo kill burst damage potential, which he doesn't quite bring to the table just yet.
Yeah, but Kabu is getting good farm. I think he's pretty happy with his position thus far in the game. Has the Arcane Boots up, probably just going to be going for that first item, Bloodstone, I would guess more than likely. Is there anything else that he considers heavily this game? I don't think so. I think first item, Bloodstone is just super stock standard for your Timbersaw.
Yeah, buy your Soul Ring / Point Booster when you can and go from there. So will be a smoke coming out from TongFu. I like this move. They've got another hookshot available. Bane level 5, so 3 points in Brain Sap, some pretty good burst damage coming out of these two heroes, and looking to make their move, including a dust here. So if they run into someone like a Bounty Hunter who's invised up, they can quickly pop the dust and get that kill. Although I imagine their prime target to go for is someone like this Bristleback. Although they are heading back towards mid lane now. Shadow Fiend getting charged, has an Invis rune available, and actual detection is not there.
Invis goes out, Shackle on the back lines, attempted Clockwork right in the middle of this. He didn't even hook in. He just walked up there. Like
gets denied.
Oh my god, gets denied by the Bane. Nicely played by LPC. 1 for 1 thus far. They've actually managed to bring down the Bristle. Kabu still plenty of mana. Yang comes charging in. Doesn't get hit by the Light Striker Ray. James gonna lob another Earth Spike as the Shackle comes out and does catch on too. Can they get anything done here? Another strike's already been used. Nightmare comes out. Kabu gonna line up with all of his spells. Race is coming in as well, but they don't wait for the LSA. Windranger able to dodge a little bit further away, but Yang finds himself pretty far away from the tower and will be brought down. Deny attempted by Lin, but it's gonna end up being a 2 plus a tower for a deny in favor of TongFu. So a great little flurry right there.
Some ballsy play coming out from Clockwork. He was like right next to the tower.
He just tanked all the spells. He didn't even get anything
He had 4 heroes in the T1 tower hitting him and didn't hook in. It was very bizarre. I think he just imagined it was like one hero there and was just going to do like a standard flank gank, but
he may have thought that he was actually on the cliff and like done the, oh no, I accidentally clicked. I mean, that's definitely happened in professional games as well. But anyway, he soaks all those spells. He gets denied anyway. Super clutch play from LPC, and TongFu now looking really, really good. They're up to about a 3K experience lead, 3K gold, and
Shadow Fiend
really got the ball.
So far
Shadow Fiend
ahead of everyone. Yeah,
6.2K versus 3.7.
It doesn't even feel like Windranger's done that poorly. There was the one TP top which slowed down Lin's farm, but 48 CS is okay. And Shadow Fiend just, I mean, this is what this hero does. He just power farms.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's not even so much that the like you said, that the Windrunner is doing badly. It's just that Shadow Fiend got the first blood and 3 more kills. And just, he hasn't even had to leave the middle lane either. There's been a lot of action happening here, and that's actually where he's been finding everything. So he's got pretty much optimal farm in terms of spamming at mid and taking some of the neutral camps in between. And he's got all those kills in the first blood on top of it. So I think that's really what we're seeing here from U9. But he's huge. He's got another 1.9K after completing the mech. So I guess just BKB going to be coming out for him before too long. I don't know what he would go for.
Blink Dagger
doesn't
possibly.
seem that impressive this
Could
game.
see Blink working, but...
Yeah, Blink could be good.
He buys the Ogre Club, so there we go. Will be BKB coming out, and it seems TongFu, you've got such a fast mech, and a level 11 on Shadow Fiend with Ogre Club now, so he's going to be up to about 1300 plus HP. You just 5-man around this guy. You can. Yeah. He's not really killable unless they throw everything. There's no Finger of Death available yet. There's no track. They're trying to get Lion level 6 at top lane, but even with Lion level 6, your best bet is throwing everything on one hero like the Shadow Fiend, killing him off, but then you have no chance of winning any subsequent fights. Grip on the bottom lane, they go in on Bristleback, but he gets cancelled by a Shackle. Doesn't matter, as the Laguna Blade brings him down. Shadow Fiend gets the first kill this fight. Nice hookshot Cog comes out from red. They're all trapped in the Cog. Nether Strike to escape from the Spirit Breaker, but the mech keeping most of TongFu alive outside of the Timbersaw, who finally gets brought down. And uh-oh, there's a pause. Mid-fight. It seems the fight's mostly over.
They could disengage if they wanted to. There's still a Requiem to cover, and there's no mana on the Lion. Nothing really left in the Bounty Hunter. Bristleback's probably a little bit afraid. Lin has some wand charges. I think the best play for Lin here is to try and shackle off of a creep and prevent TongFu from leaving.
TongFu going to look to run. Yang has a charge coming up. They've got vision now as well. Dogfight's running in forward. They're going on a melee Delvers. Can he turn and stun? Doesn't get the stun off. But nice Cogs coming in. The Shackle not going to land as well. Now the stun actually misses as XLL on that Bristle gets Nightmare up. Requiem hits and does a decent amount of damage to 3 heroes, but doesn't finish any off. Dogfight trying to hide in the trees. Gets hit by the LSA. The follow-up damage will come, or will it? No, it won't. He's still alive off to the side, and a great multiple hero stun from James. He stuns up 3. They're inside the Cogs. TongFu holding their own for now, and Kabu's showing up with his second wind here. Trying to find dogfights in the trees, won't do so. And meanwhile, the rest of his team outside the Shadow Fiend have been brought down. U9 battling it out with Lin, and that's a fight which it looks like U9 is going to win with 15 wand charges. He runs in the Bounty Hunter, pops a wand. One more raid's going to miss as in comes the melee range Bounty Hunter, but doesn't get the kill. Shadow Fiend just too tanky, too hard to bring down as he loses his salve to a siege creep, but
well.
U9 just a monster in these fights.
Yeah, so that ended up being everybody. No, so I think who bought back on VGP? That was the Bristleback.
Bristleback, yeah.
Okay, so Bristleback died twice. Windrunner didn't die, and Bounty Hunter did. So Windrunner the only survivor on VGP, and I think for TongFu, only survivor ended up being the Shadow Fiend because Kabu died right at the start. So yeah, just an extremely bloody fight overall. It kept looking like, oh, this team's going to completely wipe the other, and then the power shot comes through and picks up the double kill, and shackles are landing. I think Lin played that fight actually really, really nicely. But TongFu, they're not done. They're going to keep on hunting, and they're going to keep putting this pressure on XLL. The grip comes out, the charge is coming in, but it's going to be way too late with the grip and the Laguna Blade. They finish him off. They're trying to pincer in here somewhat. Shackle's being used. Lin dancing around on the sidelines as the rest of VGB converge, but U9 is here. Whoa. They get hit by the charge, but it's only on the Shadow Fiend and Kabu as well.
Red saying, like, stop blocking my hookshot here, guys. I mean, that he maybe could have hit that at the end, but Kabu was kind of just standing in his way for a long time there, unfortunately.
I mean, he does have this ward up on the cliff as well, so it's not like the Spirit Breaker went into fog and he was just having to guess, but
could have maybe found another kill there. Nice play from TongFu. They get the pick off, and then they just regroup together, run towards the Shadow Fiend, who there's no fighting the Shadow Fiend if you're Vici Gaming Potential.
Yeah, he's still just so ridiculously far ahead right now. I mean, I want to look at the net worth lead and just think about how much of that is just Shadow Fiend's advantage. Like he's 3K ahead of the Windrunner at the moment, and that is 75% of the gold lead that TongFu have over VGP. So yeah, U9 is putting in a ton of work thus far, and just making full use of the advantage as well. You know, got those couple of initial kills, but he's rallied his team around the mech. And I feel like he's been playing pretty well in these team fights as well. Big Smoke coming out. Are they going to take the Courier? No, that would give this one away, and they're going to look for kills instead. And what can they end up finding? Smoke's going to be revealed. Charge coming in. Red in some trouble, gonna get bursted, Finger of Death being used, but Yang finds himself in the middle of everyone, focusing on Melody Lovers, but the mech is gonna keep him alive a little bit longer, and Yang will fall. There is a buyback from your Clockwork as U9 channels up the Requiem, does basically no damage.
They want to catch someone though. Red's got a hook shot available, Rocket Flare to scout, but doesn't want to go diving too deep, not without backup, and okay fight in the end for Vici Gaming Potential. They kill off the Clockwork, get a 2-for-1 trade, and the buyback coming out. I think that's a exchange that Vici Gaming Potential at this point will be happy with. They do have to give up the tier 1 tower, but still find themselves in an acceptable position, although maybe unable to defend this tier 2 tower.
Yeah, they found a really good angle there coming in. They blew up the Clockwork immediately. TongFu kind of retreating back to try and reform their ranks, and yeah, ends up working out pretty well. Shadow Fiend's still a problem, now has his BKB up, but at the very least I feel like they've done a good job of avoiding him in the fights. They're not committing all the way in, and I guess the other thing to mention is that they don't have all that much to punish TongFu from grouping up around their Shadow Fiend. That's what we see in all these fights. Whenever something bad is happening, you just run for the SF
and he throws like
hope
an
that he'll
ulti.
protect you. Yeah.
He starts shelling an ulti, and then Vici Gaming are like, no, let's back off.
Yeah, and especially since they can't cancel it anymore outside of the Nether Strikes. So
that's the shackle.
That is going to be problematic for them.
Well, TongFu going to get scouted out with the tracks, but I feel maybe they're content just to keep on sieging here. They haven't thrown. They can't really. There's no farm to be had in top lane with it pushed out as far as it is. They can go farm their own jungle, but they're the ones who are going to force Vici Gaming Potential to miss out on farm on the map if they're not pushing out top lane. They're not pushing out mid lane, so it seems TongFu just want to keep the pressure up in bottom.
Is under attack.
Yeah, kind of no reason to. VGP, like you said, aren't really threatening anything, and the Spirit Breaker's on the map as well, so there's an additional sense of safety there for TongFu, knowing that the SP isn't currently charging and isn't looking for the initiation. Vici Gaming Potential do have pretty good vision to work with, but again, I feel like the problem for them is that they're not really doing much with that vision just yet. There's no blink daggers up, there's no one to really take advantage of the initiation, but speaking of initiation, Lin's going to get hooked up. That force stab is going to get him a little bit further away. TP coming in, but the shackle lands on 2. Red and U9 both in some trouble, but the grip is going to hold the pistol back in place, stuck inside of the chakram, and he'll be brought down. The Guna Blade coming in as well. Yang trying to focus on Melody Lovers, but once again, it's big U9 keeping his team safe. Kabu wants a little bit more. Finds the Spirit Breaker over in the trees, but he will be able to nestle himself in a little bit further. And looks like that might be it for this fight. James has spotted out Kabu. Shackle going to keep him locked in place as well, but a defensive nightmare.
Kabu just, I think he wants more. He wants him to keep going and trying to chase into him. He's got U9 to back him up, and U9's still very healthy, even with the BKB Requiem on cooldown. I think they just recognize that Vici Gaming Potential don't have the greatest ability to continue fighting here. They've got Finger of Death back up, and that's maybe their one avenue to get some more kills following that fight, but doesn't seem like that's going to be the case here.
Yeah. They are so desperate for some farm on this Bristleback. And it's interesting because he's not even that far behind net worth-wise, but he just hasn't been able to get anything done in any of these fights. Every single time, he's a Bristleback, but he's still just getting bursted from full to nothing, absolutely no problem. And there's a lot to kite him around. Lightstrike Array is proving to be a problem. Even the cogs from the Clockwork really preventing him from getting in on his targets. And I don't know what XLL is to do. I mean, he could sit back and he could farm and try and work towards his BKB, but he's picked up a Vitality booster thus far, and that does mean it's going to take him quite a while to grab that.
Yeah. Clockwork has been dying very quickly in these fights. Is another thing for TongFu, where not having a Blade Mail, if he could go in with these hooks and immediately Blade Mail, there's much less likely chance that he's going to get focused down. Even if he does, he's dishing out a lot more damage during that focus fire duration. But Red right now seeing on a 5 deaths, and most of those happening fairly recently. Clockwork, Bounty Hunter, going to do a good job scouting out this Clockwork continuously, and I've got the detection to deal with this. It looks like Kabu going to be the one getting charged up. Dogfights goes in, gets the track, hookshot the counter initiate with the cogs follow-up, and Yang trapped inside the cogs. He's going to be the casualty of War's. Finger does not kill off Kabu. The last right click from James will do so as James pays for it with his life. Lin, just an innocent bystander, can't really do too much except scurry himself away, and looks like that's going to be the end of this little skirmish. The two teams back off for now.
Dogfights managed to find a nice little spot inside the pit to TP out, but ends up being a 2-for-1, and Red comes up really big there, canceling the Nether Strike the first time, keeping the Spirit Breaker locked down, and yes, Kambu ends up dropping, but it takes a heck of a lot more commitment from VGP and end up losing 2 in the process. So things just continuing to look great for TongFu. Unai is still totally unanswered.
Well, at this point, he is the entire net worth difference. That 5k gold advantage he has is the net worth difference between the two teams.
Oh man, Unai has the most kills of Shadow Fiend in 20 minutes in the China qualifiers with 7 kills and no deaths.
There's been a lot of Shadow Fiend play in the China qualifiers.
Yeah, there has been.
But not the best win rate.
We've been talking about the fact that it hasn't had the highest win rate. In fact, I think it's like 33% or something now. Yeah. At one point, it was 8%.
I think that's sample size as well as the teams that like Shadow Fiend's that safe, stable pick that teams go to. It's kind of like the old Darkseid where he was like 40% win rate, but he was still getting nerfed by Ice Frog just because the hero was so
coming
good.
out on the winner. Are they going to be able to cancel this one? Shotgun coming in as well. Unai rounds up with the Requiem.
I think they just learned, use the grip on this Wind Ranger to prevent the 4-star out of the cogs, because at this point the Clockwork alone is not enough, and Red going to miss this hookshot onto Dogfight. Unfortunately, would have been a follow-up kill there, but find themselves in still a decent position to just rotate towards either Roshan or the bottom lane to go for another tier 2 tower, and it looks like it may be Roshan they go for.
Yeah, got some illusions to tank and do a bit of scouting. They've got some sentry wards around here as well, and even though VGP know what's going on, the question is whether or not they can actually do anything about it. Yang just retreating over into the tree line at the moment as Kabu and LPC are actually looking for him, but it looks like TongFu are going to take a few swipes at Roshan and decide, okay, we don't like how long this is taking, we don't like how tanky he is. Let's just back ourselves up. And Roshan's a pretty easy way to lose to start to lose this advantage at this stage. As much as VGP aren't the most amazing Roshan lineup in the world, I feel like TongFu being this far ahead, there isn't much of a reason to go looking for it.
And just probably, mid lane, they're going to catch out XLL on the Bristleback, and he is not going to good escape. He's got Bounty Hunter nearby, he's going to give some track movement speed, but doesn't look like they're giving enough. Bristleback gets down about 100 HP. Here comes Yang looking for that Nether Strike. The battery assault causing him problems. Finally brings down Lina. Now he's on the run. Hook shot from Red will catch out 2. As Lin barely scurries to the high ground here. Nice. Shackle will catch out Red as well as U9 on Shadow Fiend, but there's not much fight left in this Vici Gaming Potential squad at this point, as Bounty Hunter still on the sides, camps back in from behind, catches out the Clockwork, and will finish off 1 kill as he gets dusted up, but no catch. Oh, okay, there's catch. Fiend script from downtown, and Dogfight's caught out. 1 raise 2. U9 beyond godlike. 10-0 at 24 minutes in. Oh boy.
It's just ridiculous. Like this is a Shadow Fiend performance for sure. But he's got his SNY and another 1,000 gold. I mean, I'm just waiting until he gets to the point where he's doubling up everybody. I mean, he's already doubling up almost everybody, but the Wind Ranger is still keeping things there a little bit. Lin does almost have an Aghanim Scepter up, but TongFu buying a bunch more items. We've got the Bloodstone now up for Kabu, and a gem for LPC that I am personally a huge fan of. They're this far ahead, they still got all of their tier 1s. They can totally deny all map control and vision to VGP, and then they can just farm for as long as they want and go and end the game after that. James running forward. I think he was trying to do some warding.
Missed the hook shot, unfortunately.
Yeah,
he's going to survive this earn damage. Rocket Flare maybe could be close.
Second flare. Yes. And 7,
Trinkles.
6.
GG Trinkles.
Yep. They didn't break him. Oh well. Missed the hook. Don't get the kill. Bottom lane, Yang doing his best. Is going to start charging over towards mid, but he's charging into Clockwork. Okay, Red not paying attention there.
Could have maybe, precast the battery assault.
He could have just put the cogs down.
Yeah.
I think. But anyway.
It's all good. They're going to get the tier 2 bottom tower, although they are giving up some ground in the mid lane, but they're going for the high ground. They say, forget Roshan. You guys want to pressure our tier 1 mid? Let's chip away at your high ground.
Yeah, there is a glyph available for VGP. They can charge in all the way from mid lane. They've got people TPing back right now, but tower already down below 50%. There is the last remnants of this double damage over on the Bristleback, but looks like nothing else going to come of this, and TongFu just going to back up.
VGP just trying to use that vision to their advantage, figure out what TongFu are up to. They get a couple tracks out. They have the charge vision, and they'll see the rotation towards top from Kabu and know that TongFu are just going to back off, take their own farm in the jungle, and at some point, I mean, we talked about Roshan earlier, they're not going to go for it just yet. It does feel like almost a timing thing with TongFu, where they want to get this when they're well and truly ready to go high ground. Yeah, they tried to go high ground there, but that's just because Vici Gaming Potential are out of position. But when they're ready to truly just 5-man push into Vici Gaming Potential, that's when they want to ideally have an Aegis available to themselves.
Yeah, and like you were talking about, as much as this gem is going to deny a lot of vision to VGP, they do at least have the track and the Spirit Breaker scouting to at least keep some sort of tabs on what TongFu are up to. And that does mean that they can move a little bit further outside of the base from time to time and look to pick up some of this more dangerous farm. Though, as I say that, XLL is going to get caught out here by the hook shot straight into the grip. Nobody around to cancel this one. And Melted Lover's not even going to mess around, just drops the Laguna Blade.
Bristol just been farming in some very aggressive positions. Kind of reminiscent of that like mid lane where he got caught up by the river when he was completely on his own. And there's so much pickup potential. You've got Fiend's Grip, you've got Hookshot, you've got a Yule Scepter on Lina now. This is just not a game where Bristleback can be making those kind of plays.
Yeah, and looks like, I guess they just give the Aegis over to the Shadow Fiend. He can go and siege to the high ground.
Yeah, I think just why not at this point.
What do you buy here? Do you think you just buy something like a Desolator?
On Shadow Fiend?
Yeah, I think you can just buy Desolator and end the game. Honestly, I know that it's definitely not the standard item at this stage, and if the game drags on any longer, then I think it looks a little bit questionable. But in terms of one item for the gold that he has right now to go and end it, I feel like Deso might be the best choice. But we'll see what he does. He can still farm another 2,000 gold in a few minutes if he wants to go for something.
Well, and you've got a good 5 minutes on the Aegis, so while he can't buy a bigger item right now, you could still farm for 2 or 3 minutes, buy a Butterfly, and then push with something like a Butterfly. And
yeah,
I think Butterfly, comparable to the Desolator, it scales better towards the late game, but you get the evasion for the sieging, and you're just a bit more tanky and durable in the front lines compared to the Desolator, where you're more of a glass cannon.
Yeah, other option is something like a Scotty as well. I could definitely look towards that. Though I think given that you are maybe a little bit worried about the physical damage from the Windranger, Focus Fire, and the Bristleback right clicks, I feel like Butterfly is probably the go for U9 here. But
forcing Windrunner into a MKB is fine enough in itself. It's on a data list at that point, which is the more kind of cost-effective damage item.
Yeah, definitely the scarier one, given that you don't really need to build very much attack speed on Windranger once you've got this Aghanim Scepter Focus Fire up. But
so Vici Potential, they have to sack out of towers. They're going to be looking to defend their high ground, but that push to the high ground could be coming sooner than expected. They also aren't expecting this movement towards mid lane. As Clockwork Hook Shot catches out Yang charge. Escape not available. Yang will get Laguna'd and brought down as Bane picks up the last hit. LPC may look to rejoin with the Shadow Fiend at top lane to continue the push. But right now, U9 just doing fine on his own. So, Vici, you're going to defend? Bristol's like, I need some tower money.
Yeah.
This is his BKB for the most part. Bristleback can get this tower last hit, but he's not going to go for it just yet. He's going to TP back now, and no BKB available for this fight.
Shackle on the Shadow Fiend, a little bit of damage getting thrown out. I think they still have some Urn charges available to top him off and go for another attempt at the high ground. The Glyph has been used, and XLL needs to be careful about how he's been moving outside of the base. I feel like he's sort of telling himself, okay, look, I've got my team ready. They're right here. If I get gripped or something, they can kind of bail me out. But that's much easier said than done for the VGP here. If they had a blink on the line, I would be 100% on board with this, but U9 trying to make his way up onto the high ground. Exact same story, another Shackle, another Focus Fire.
Another Urn charge to heal him up.
Oh, there's going to be a hook come in from Red, catches out onto 2, Light Strike Ray follows things up as well. I think the Blade Mail killing off the Lina in the midst of all of that. XLL still on the run. One less auto attack from the Shadow Fiend is not going to be enough. Triggers that last Quill Spray, and he's actually going to end up going down, so TongFu lose 2, only getting 1. And VGP finally putting up a little bit of a stand here as TongFu try and breach the high ground.
Yeah, the unconventional Blade Mail and the Spirit Breaker doing some work there to help kill off Lina, so not a bad hold from Vici Gaming Potential against the Aegis, Shadow Fiend and everything. That was a lot better than I was expecting that one to go down, as Shadow Fiend did end up picking up a Skadi, which I don't think he had for that push and fight.
No. Yeah, I don't think he didn't make room. He still has his one, so he didn't have it in his inventory with the Aegis. So Aegis is down. They got really good damage on this tier 3. Bottom tier 3 has also taken a pretty hefty chunk off of that previous push. So we're starting to get towards the point where if TongFu win one big fight, then the game is probably over. But VGP is still hanging on. And, I mean, not necessarily even just by a thread. It's 7.5k experience. It's 7.5k gold. The game feels much more uneven than that, though, again, a lot of it just comes back to the Shadow Fiend being as big as he is.
Yeah. They've had some bounty hunter track gold coming their way, and will continue to do so if they can take fights like that to if they're trading even on kills to defend high ground, they're getting that bonus gold.
Yeah, and he's got level 11 now as well. Looks like Dogfights has only just managed to pick that up, so the situation is only getting better from that.
Lin will pick up a Mithril Hammer, so maybe we're seeing this kind of Maelstrom build, which it seems more teams are picking up, but it doesn't feel like the best damage item, especially in the late game. I was talking about it a bit earlier today, and just seeing the Maelstrom pick up later on doesn't seem as optimal compared to the Daedalus that most teams seem to be going for now as your damage item.
Yeah, it's... I feel like it's a little bit less about the damage, and it's also somewhat to do with the push and keeping these lanes out a little bit, because that isn't something that VGP have a lot of in terms of being able to push out lanes quickly. Bouncing out, you can't do it at all. Spear Breaker's pretty slow. Bristleback, of course, is decent, and as is Lion, but I feel like Lin is also looking at this as a little bit of a farm accelerator and a way to push lanes out when they have an opportunity.
Kabu, TP, and he's going to make it, just barely.
If he hadn't gone for that Timber Chain before he did it, I think he would have died.
He TP'd bottom lane, so his team's now in a great position to push. He's scouted out the incoming Spirit Breaker. They've got to get
TPs? Does everybody... Okay, Dogfight's no TP. He's running back. He's going to be the first one to land, but... Lion's already there.
Have to get some chip damage done on this at least. U9 in the front line, somewhat secure in his tankiness. Has the Nightmare to back him up, as we've seen a few times as well, should he get shackled.
We've also got Red over in the tree line, just lining up for this hookshot at the moment. We're going to see if he can spot a good opportunity. His team isn't the best at following up from a Clockwork Initiation. It's pretty much just Timbersaw who might be able to come flying in with the Timber Chain and lay down some damage. No blink or anything on the Shadow Fiend. Just that. Though if he wants it, U9 can actually just walk back to the side shop right now, sell his Magic Wand, and pick up a Blink Dagger. So we'll see what he ends up opting for. The world is really his oyster item-wise right now. So
charge towards Kabu at mid lane as hookshot went flying, and looks like it went whiffing as well.
VGP still holding on. I mean, taking the little bits of farm that they're being given the opportunity to grab.
Still taking little bits of damage every now and then to their tier 3s, but...
Yeah. It looks like TongFu might just be waiting around for Roshan. They've got really good wards up on the map, keeping good eyes on what VGP are up to. The Bristleback is getting some farm up now. He's got his BKB and another 1.6k, so he'll be able to grab some items, but he is just so far behind the Shadow Fiend at this point. And the Scotty makes life ridiculously difficult for him in terms of staying on his targets and actually being able to kill anyone here. So I think we still need to see, like, SNY. I think it's probably something like SNY AC Basher for your Bristleback, something on those lines. Another couple of items that he might consider, but we'll see.
There's a lot of items that it feels like he needs before he's even somewhat fight ready. By then, Shadow Fiend's got a Butterfly, maybe a Daedalus, all kinds of things on top of that.
Yeah, nice shackle mid lane. Lin comes out with the Force Staff and does punish TongFu for being a little bit split up here.
Immediate smoke to follow this one up. They want to follow up on this, and they see U9. They know he's been tracked previously. They're going in on him with a charge, and Shadow Fiend needs to be careful. He has got a BKB, but won't be able to get it off. The Nether Strike to follow. Lions there with a Hex as well as an Impale. Wants to bring down U9, but the defensive Nightmare helps him out. Does not BKB. Now he gets Hex fingered. Fiend's Grip onto the Lion, and SF, BKB, Requiem. Could do a lot of damage. He winds up. Bristleback runs in with a BKB, tries to fight. U9 gets low, and he's just going to man up on the Bristleback. Great force up will keep him alive. Kited to the safety, but no, the Shuriken, not enough damage. Now the Nasal Goo coming in from XLL. He's in hot pursuit, and U9 is just going to try turn and fight. This accepts defeat and almost actually gets a kill on his way out with that. As the fight continues at mid lane, Dogfights earn damage. Rocket Flare gets him low, and with the Gem of True Sight, they are able to see him and bring him down. Almost a Shadow Fiend miracle, as he came very close to surviving that one.
But, well, we talked about Bristleback needing items, and he just got, I think, the most... yeah. 1,600. I've missed the recap, but you've got it up. The 1,600 gold.
And 2,000 experience.
Yeah, he's now level 17, which is up there, top 4 at least.
So completed Sanjin Yasha, easy.
Yeah, he's getting there. A few more big kills. Could definitely see a very, very scary Bristleback this game.
And it wasn't like there was a huge goal. It's been about a 7 to 8k gold lead for some time now, but for just that huge Beyond Godlike streak that the Shadow Fiend had accrued, turning him into that big pot of gold, which now has been claimed. And see Roshan respawning in about 1 minute's time, something TongFu will definitely have their eye on as a way to help secure them for that next high ground push.
Yeah, but VGP also making their way out at the moment, feeling a little bit more bold. They don't have any wards on the map right now, and TongFu are doing a good job of still hanging on to this gem over on LPC, so making it a little bit more difficult to get any kind of vision. And Bounty Hunter also going to be picking up a gem of his own, so this could be the beginnings of a bit of a VGP comeback. They're going to probably reclaim some control over their side of the map, which is going to make it a little bit easier to farm. We might level out on golden experience somewhat, and it's still, of course, going to be down to the next few fights, but there's still hope there.
Yeah, that high ground defense and Bounty Hunter track gold, and that's kind of says enough in itself. If they can execute decently, hit the shackle shots that Lin has been hitting this game, I think it's a good turn for the better, and Lin suddenly already up to 3k gold, can start working on that damage I've been talking about, be it the MKB, which he might need against the Butterfly coming from U9, or the Daedalus with just that raw right-click damage.
Yeah. U9 has
smoke towards Roche.
Yeah. Oh, they're coming over. Spirit Breaker's farming top. Hasn't started the charge just yet. Kabu's all the way over by top lane as well. So it's a 4-on-4 to begin with. It splits up pretty badly. Red goes hooking in forward, focusing onto Lin for the moment. Also ends up tanking through a couple of spells. Finger of Death being used. U9 picks up the bounty on his way over to try and deal with this Bristleback Nightmare, keeping Melody Lovers alive for a little bit longer. Now XLL trapped in the river. Nice Force Staff away, getting help keep him safe. It looks like Dogfights might be in some trouble. Yang comes down with the Blade Mail active. Kabu, this is not the best spot for him to be fighting, but still finding decent angles for the Timber Chain. Yang going to be charging away as this three-man squad from VGP continues to find some pickoffs.
They're getting track gold as well on top of this. Kabu now going to chase with the buyback from Bounty Hunter, though. I feel like TongFu want to be a bit careful about re-engaging here.
Lion is just sitting here mana draining creeps.
I mean, he had plenty of mana as well as the funny thing. He had mana for Hex and Impale. Farmer neutrals.
I could totally understand if he had like two teammates nearby.
Yep. And
he was like, okay, I need mana because I need to go and continue this fight and we're going to keep on going. But nobody was there. All he was doing, I think, was risking the fact that, you know, let's say LPC decides, oh, hey, I want to farm this camp. The fight's over, right? And blinks over the trees. That could have gone really badly for James. Oh well.
I'm definitely with you. I'm not sure what he was thinking about that. But
I'm sorry. It shouldn't be so funny, but it was intense team fight. Things are happening, and then it ends, and I pan over, and it's just Lion mana trading a creep.
He was having a good time. Dire Courier hits the deck.
So that's 1,600 gold. I don't know what the Courier hotkey is set to at the moment. Let's see. We're good. We're good.
We've got Courier?
Yeah, okay, here's just the Mithril Hammer. What do you know? 1,600 gold, but ended up dying in the river. Roshan has respawned. TongFu had scouted that one out a little bit earlier. So they're going to head in there right this second and
not contest this time. And TongFu, with Aegis on Shadow Fiend, maybe ready to make their move. They have got Butterfly coming out in just 200 gold as well, although he'll have to make space for it, which is going to be selling the mech. Okay, so he will pick up Butterfly now.
Yeah, and TongFu, I think, is there any incentive not to just go and siege right away? I don't think there's any items coming up soon. Kabu's just completed his Shivas. So I think given that no one's going to get anything too soon, I guess we can look at levels as well. Is anyone close to 16? Kind of on the Bane, but I don't think you can give him enough experience to.
And it's not really a
game-changing
upgrade. Yeah, it's just extra damage more than anything, so. It's not something they're really lacking right now with the farm they have got on some of their heroes.
So it's probably just play the lane control game, go and get things pushed out as far as they possibly can in multiple lanes, and then just charge all the way down one. I feel like there's... What lane do you think they'd go for? There's a couple of different arguments. Of course, top lane is already very low, so that's a pretty easy point of failure for VGP, but if TongFu are feeling extremely confident, I think they could even just go straight down mid and look to end the game there. It does sort of make it a little bit less easy for VGP to get any kind of split pushing done, since it is, of course, the shortest lane. It looks like Well, U9 is maybe calling the shot here. He's pushing down mid.
Well, it seems to be a bit of a play where they show Shadowfiend on the map while they have got a smoke rotation going. You've got Timbersaw towards top, although he's going to reveal himself with a Chakram. And smoke not amounting to too much just yet, but they're coming very close to catching out Yang, who gets his TP off, and Dogfight's the only one left lingering around. If he gets spotted by the Bane Gem, he will be done for. So far, looking okay, though.
Is it time to intercept the creep wave, Dogfights? You see it. No, okay. I don't think there's any chance that he goes for that. Well, I mean, we can have a quick look at his vision right now. He's now going to spot a couple of Radiant heroes making their way onto the map, but
they keep on dewarding.
There you go, Dogfights. He's in amongst it.
All right. I mean, he saw them dewarding his cliff, so he kills 2 creeps, pulls away back, and TP's home.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's already a wave coming over towards top lane, and U9 ready and wait to finish off this tier 3. There is a glyph available.
So the career respawning means Spirit Breaker's BKB has now arrived. Nice shackle on U9. Yeah, he's got an Aegis, but this could look to force that out as you do a lot of damage from the front lanes. In comes Yang, but the 4-star pushes them back. Clockwork, counter initiation, hook shot into Cogs, but Lim will get out with the 4-star, and in goes XLL. Fiend Script gets cancelled, and now U9 is BKB about to wear off. He's tracked up as well. That's going to be the end of the Aegis, and Vici Gaming Potential are going to repel TongFu. They may even look to chase off of this.
Yeah, BKB already used. You're not going to get stunned up right as he arrives. But a really nice Nightmare keeping him alive for the time being. XLL trapped in the cogs once again, but Lin stands his ground, right-clicking away with the focus fire. James hiding back behind the tower. LPC getting hit by the Shuriken, bouncing through. Looks like they will end up losing Dogfights, but he's gotten the majority of the tracks down, and VGP looking for more blood. XLL very low, but as is U9.
On Kabu.
And he's running for it. Kabu?
Maybe you just want to go for the leaner here, the easier kill. Kabu's tanky, and I don't know if Yang can get this one on his own. Yeah, let's say quickly changes track and
bash. Kabu gets bashed.
Easy.
TP's on cooldown. He's getting pincered right now, actually. This could be the end of it. The Blade Bell doing good damage, so Kabu's just going to try and get the kill, but won't even be able to. Yang, the Bash Lord, puts an end to him.
They got a 3-for-1. They bring down the Aegis, and at least one of those was track on the Bane. I don't think they had track on the other 2 who ended up dying, but maybe the Clockwork. But a fantastic fight for Vici Gaming Potential. I think they would have loved to have killed Shadowfiend there, but hey, they got the Aegis, and that's enough for them. At this point, Shadowfiend is not getting that much scary. He's close to 6 slot. Yeah, you can upgrade your SMY, you can replace the TP, but there's not like any one big item which is going to suddenly tip Shadowfiend over the scales at this point.
Yeah, and we have to keep in mind as well that he's still going around with the extra survivability from the evasion on the Butterfly at the moment, but as soon as Windrunner picks up this Monkey King bar, I don't know what he's going to do. I think he's actually just going to get focused on every single time. I feel like he has been playing a little bit more aggressively since he's had the Aegis, and as a result, he's turned into a bit of a punching bag in some of these fights. But VGP, they do have the lockdown. They're starting to get the items now. Lion's got a Yules, and he's got a 4-staff, so plenty of ways for him to get in and out of the fights and make sure that he gets his spells down. And we're starting to get to the point where it doesn't feel like the next Aegis and the next Roshan are necessarily 100% guaranteed for TongFu either.
Yang now going to work on a Shadow Blade of his own on Spirit Breaker, though not going to be amazing as there is a new gem picked up for LPC, but I just feel like Vici Gaming Potential just using the mobility around them to get vision without even having great Observer Wards. Although they have managed to keep 2 Observer Wards alive just by using the cliffs here on the western side of the map. Yeah, it's not your ideal place to have Observer Wards at 45 minutes in the game, but it's providing some vision, which is better than what was kind of the case before this.
Yeah, I feel like the other problem that TongFu are running into here a little bit is that Kabu has a lot of gold, but as a Timbersaw, it can be difficult to have an impact when pushing into the base just because it's such a sparse area when it comes to trees and being able to move in and out, disengaging and spamming out chakrams. Blink Dagger and Ags both do alleviate that a little bit as we have him jumped here on the middle lane. Chakra comes out, LPC finds himself inside of the trees. Light Strike Array actually catching out into 2. 4-staff gets Kabu a little bit further out as Yang is going to be the target of the grip. Red pops down the cogs, splitting up this fight a little bit, but LPC was found out in the trees, and it looks like Red going to be going down as well. This is not the fight for TongFu. Melody Lover sent skyward, and as he gets dropped down
everywhere. Everybody getting tracked up, and Kabu going to get chased down as well. It looks like they've got another charge in a couple of seconds.
In front of the high ground. Gets the Yules off. We'll be able to follow it with potentially a Hex or an Earth Spike. There is a BKB from U9. He's going to try and fight this one out, but Lin's there with the focus fire.
They go on Kabu here. They're going to try and the bouncing Shuriken on through. The Shackle lands to a tree by the base, and that's the end of Kabu. Another track kill going Vici Gaming's way. They may not kill the Shadow Fiend once more, but it's a 4-for-0. 6k gold swing.
Lin is giving Kabu even more reason to hate trees right now. He just got shackled both mid and as he tried to escape. And yeah, this is... I mean, I just want to have a look at the graphs.
Normally you see a
we've touched down to 0. It's gone.
And normally after a team wipe you see a 6k gold swing if it's like a 20k gold lead. But that was a close game with a huge gold swing just based off tracks. That right there was so much of the income coming out from the Bounty Hunter.
And we're back to even. And
this Shadow Fiend
have all the momentum.
Yeah. The team fight is just being won by these shackles from Lin's time and time again, and they've just got the much better... I don't even want to say they've got necessarily the better stuns, maybe the more reliable ones, with Lion just hitting nice impales, hexes in all these fights. And the Clockwork's doing a decent job, but once the BKB start getting used on the side of Vici Gaming Potential, they're just not killing off the Wind Ranger. They're not killing off the Bristleback.
Yeah, this is so tough for TongFu. And I feel like I want to go back to that point that I was talking about before Kabu got jumped mid. That I feel like we're not seeing the impact out of the Timbersaw that we should be. Again, some of it is because they've been pushing up into the high ground, and Timbersaw is really useless when you're pushing into the enemy base. You really need items like Aghanim Scepter and Blink Dagger to be able to cover some of his weaknesses when he doesn't have the mobility options necessarily pushing up onto the high ground, but also no BKB on him. Bounty Hunter is going to get caught. No, manages to force staff a little bit further away, and dogfights might be all right. LPC lost his gem earlier. He was forced to drop in a sentry here, just catching him on the very edge. They will invest the grip, but Bristleback's going to be very happy with that. Comes running into the fight, and the Shackle catches on 2. Once again, followed up with the Earth Spike. That's 2 down. Red trying to open up space with the Cogs, but he's also going to fall, and U9 arrives a little bit late. It's just him and Kabu fighting it out. XLL somehow down on the low ground, just being right-clicked right now. U9 finally finding some space to work with, but Yang right on top of him. Requiem gets channeled, but Lin still just focus firing away. And looks like it will be the Shadow Fiend to drop. Lin still relatively healthy. Nothing left on XLL, but we've got another Shackle over onto Kabu. They've only lost 1, and it's going to be another full 5-man wipe.
The good news, Bounty Hunter was dead during that fight.
So no tracks.
No tracks, no tracks. You're fine, TongFu. You didn't give away any track gold.
Except it's still 3.1k.
Yeah, okay. There's some bad news to go with that. Good news.
Yeah.
So, no track money, but a 5-for-1 trade. Roshan not respawning just yet. Just maybe a slight added benefit, although it is still just pretty early days as far as the potential respawn time. And Vici Gaming, all the momentum and more going their way after that fight. Shadow Fiend's just not cutting it on his own. It feels like he's just got so little backup coming out from... The Timbersaw needs to be dealing out more damage. The Clockwork is purely an initiator. Lena's dying too early in these fights, and now they have just detection problems because they've lost 2 gems, and their gem is on cooldown for such a long time, so until 4.5 minutes from now, they're not going to be able to have access to another gem, which is a big deal when you're up against, well, a Shadow Blade on Spirit Breaker as well as the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, and Yang putting that Shadow Blade to work, going to come charging in here on the mid lane. Doesn't have a whole lot of health nearby, but just going to pop BKB, start working away at Melody
available.
Lovers, but there's a grip LPC just around the corner. Yang still tanking through everything here. We do have heroes arriving. James going to try and help out a little bit as Red comes flying in with the hookshot. Yang, can he get out of here? Looks like won't be able to as the Chakram finishes him off. But a Finger of Death is going to at least get the kill. As TongFu end up losing 2, and
wow, that
BGP.
was
yeah, you're like, oh, we'll take the Aegis.
Yeah, I was looking at that fight like, oh, that's not been as good as your normal Vici Gaming fights, but then I was like, oh, okay.
All right.
That works.
Aegis and a cheese, I believe.
Cheese on Lion.
Cheese on Lion. All right, that's probably going to be passed on to somebody else, I would guess, in a little bit. But
yeah,
BGP, I think it's time to go consider high ground.
And they need the Aegis and Cheese, because pushing high ground against Timbersaw with an Axe Scepter is never going to be fun or easy. And this is where Timbersaw can shine. The problem's being as you kind of mentioned earlier, pushing high ground with a Timbersaw is always hard to actually hit your spells and do enough damage to...
And Blin comes forcing it, looks for the Shackle, doesn't find it, but he might kill U9 anyway, just with the Focus Fire. U9 turns for one hit, still alive, 300 HP. LPC with the Self-Nightmare, but a Finger of Death slices through.
Shadow Fiend, no BKB now for the defense. This is going to be a lane of racks. TongFu kind of crumbling here against a team in Vici Gaming Potential, knocked out, and a loss here means TongFu have no chance whatsoever to advance the playoffs. It was already the slimmest of chances, but
Kabu.
One last hurrah. Kabu, good damage coming out. He brings down one in the Bounty Hunter, but that's not going to be enough in its own. The cheese gets chewed up as Lion going to look to back off. Gets out the Hex on U9, but he's still running. Great Shackle from the high ground. There's no follow-up damage, but it does deter the chase. Lion, 4-staff, no blink available. He's got 5k gold, and he's out of here. Kabu can chase all he likes, but too much lockdown and control to deal with the Lion.
And no, Yang's not done. Kabu gets used up. The charge not going to land as a result. Both that they should be able to find your Timbersaw here. Another Finger of Death coming out. Hexed once more, unable to cast anything thus far, though. VGP might not have the damage. Kabu goes hooking off to the side here. As the fight continues, no help arriving. I think the rest of TongFu actually occupied over inside of the base. James almost brought
Suicidal
down.
moves from Wind Ranger in the Radiant base.
Oh no.
And they get the grip on Bristleback. Vici Gaming, they're throwing away their lead here, it almost feels like. Both Bristle and Wind Ranger go down. And Timbersaw did.
What on earth? Oh, yeah, I was watching the Spirit Breaker in the line. I was like, oh, there's some dots in the enemy base. What's going on over there? And okay, Wind Ranger dies.
I was watching Wind Ranger like try and fight the SF, like pop the Wind Run, ran at the SF. It worked until the Wind Run walked off. Then SF's like, okay, I'll just easily kill you. Like this isn't a problem for me.
I mean, part of the what? No, come on, Lion. What is that?
What's he done?
That's not the item. That is not the item.
If you want HP, get an Acceptor.
It's not the item.
Oh dear, Lion. No.
I hope he buys a Blade Mail.
Blade Mail's been a big item this game. Even that last fight, that was after the Spirit Breaker almost died in the Fiend's Grip in that mid lane. He popped the Blade Mail to finish off the Lena, so it's been high impact.
I want to say that this is the first Heart Lion in competitive Dota. I'm gonna back myself on that one. I don't know.
There's a good chance that's accurate.
I'm sure we'll find
maybe
out.
back in the old days when like sometimes you have mid lane, there was enough farm for a heart.
I think this is super weird. He's still it only gives him like an extra 2 or 3 right clicks from the Shadow Fiend before he dies. Yeah. He's still only got 10 armor.
If you get an Accept, you're getting HP, you're getting some Agi for some extra armor, you're getting the
You could
AoE
buy a
finger.
Hex.
Yeah.
He could have just bought a Hex.
One of the really nice things, I think the most...
He doesn't even have a blink.
Oh, yeah, that too. I mean, with the Acceptor, you can push out lanes so much easier as a Lion too, which is sometimes like a hero. Like you want to send a Lion back to deal with split push, no problem. You just finger a creep wave and it's gone. 20 seconds, you can do it again.
TongFu waiting on the high ground. James is going to get caught out. How much is that heart going to do for him? Nothing. He's going to get caught out. The Focus Fire is coming out. Kabu in some trouble getting locked down. Dogfight still inside the cogs, but he's nice and safe there, in fact. U9 does manage to open up with some right clicks as Yang kites a little bit further down. TongFu staying grouped up. U9 starting to lay with the right clicks. The Blin has the Wind Run. We've got the Requiem of Souls coming out, but Shadow Fiend unable to stand. Another Nightmare and XLL. They keep on kiting. The Shackle shot lands! U9 is going to be brought down. Lin making the plays. Stands strong in the midst of everything. They will have to wait out this Blade Mail on the clockwork. He's going to try and TP home, but no chance. One last right click from XLL finishes him off, and we're not done just yet either. Make it a full team wipe.
This time Bounty was alive too, so there's a lot of track money going the way of Vici Gaming. Whoa, that's a 7k gold swing, more or less. And that was, they're already ahead by 10k, and you get like 6 to 7k gold because of the track. That is just, that's insane.
Okay, so they can't end. They're still a tier 2 top. So they either have to go for, they can't mega creep, sorry. They can try and end, potentially here. They're buying, Lin has salves in his stash right now.
That. I'm like, where's the Curry? He needs his salves, but they're stuck back at base.
Okay, so they get the buyback out of the Shadow Fiend. They're still considering trying for something here. Bounty Hunter moving around a little bit, get some tracks out. Lin manning up somewhat, comes in with the Focus Fire. Right-clicking away U9. Kabu going to try and make some space if he can. Double Chakram coming out. XLL in some trouble. BKB being popped. And he will be able to retreat back, and it looks like that SF buyback is going to be enough for TongFu to have everyone else respawn and not have to invest anything.
It's still just down one lane of rack, so it's not impossible to manage right now for TongFu, but things getting scary and scary. This is just where you get all these luxury support items because of all the track money that's going Vici Gaming's way. I mean, your Lion has a heart of Taras, for Christ's sake. Your Bounty Hunter has 3k gold. He can start thinking about getting a BKB, an AC for the team, whatever that may be. Speaking, oh, Yang has got double Hyperstone.
Oh, man.
And this is the first time I've seen this item picked up. We got a Moonshard coming out. I don't think he's chomping on this one. I think he's holding on to it for the extra attack speed. You don't want to get rid of that. You don't want to cut that in half.
Okay, well, I mean, they've got an AC, they've got a Vlad's.
Needs maybe like an MKB to be able to fight the SF a bit better.
That might be actually a slightly better damage item overall, since he only has the Silver Edge for plus damage, and I guess a little bit off the BKB.
It's just where if you're trying to man fight the SF and you're not hitting your bash because of the evasion, you have to deal with that. You're already dealing with your own bash luck, and then you're dealing with the evasion from Butterfly. If he gets a Satanic off, quickly life steals back to full HP. Just because you got evaded, you're not going to be a happy Spirit Breaker.
Oh, I just want to see how fast he attacks with this, especially if he's around the AC as well and whatnot. It'll be pretty interesting.
I feel like the team's just going for style points. The Lionheart, Yang with the Moonshard.
I mean, they are very much ahead by the numbers, but I'm not even sure if the numbers matter at this stage. It feels like we're getting to the point where it's more about buyback. It's more about, because we're getting to the point where VGP could definitely end the game after one big fight. I don't know quite why they're pushing bottom lane at the moment. I don't know what this bottom lane of Rax really means.
I think it's just pressure. They're going to wait for next Roshan themselves and keep lanes pushed out as much as possible, and we'll see how things pan out from here. But yeah, I think just keeping lane pushed out, trying to secure Roshan, get map control. There is a new gem up on TongFu's side, as I think this is the 3rd gem purchased over for TongFu, and hopefully something they can hold on to for some time.
Is this, it's happening to you as well? No, okay. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of lag. I just want to see how the rest of this game goes. It has been a ridiculous ride so far, and I can only hope it continues. U9's the Satanic up now, so man fight potential definitely growing for him, but still no MKB to help deal with the win run, most notably. And VGP have managed to make their way out here and catch out some of TongFu. There's only 3 heroes, but the charge gets cancelled. Lin, a little bit more bold, is going to come in with the Force Staff, but he gets caught by the hook shot. No cogs. Force Staff from...
They may look to fight this. SF has no BKB. If they can chase and get a pick off. Imagine if Lion had a blink. If only. Yang still wants in. BKB's up and decides against it. Okay. We're not going to talk about that one. Red gets fingered, but he's still alive and healthy. Hookshot defensively from Red just to get back to the high ground. Interesting Dota 2 coming out. Fiend's Grip onto the line, gets forced out of the Chakrams, forced again to the high ground, but gets chased down by the Chakram and the Timber Chain. Not bad coming out from Timbersaw. They've killed off 2 Vici Gaming heroes. Lin now on the run, tries to turn and fight, but this is not a fight. It looks like he's going to win. It's a 3rd casualty for Vici Gaming. And in mid lane, Red has another hookshot. This Ag Scepter, can he hit it? Rocket Flare for Vision. Yang jukes into the trees. Ooh. Red could have maybe had one more. He goes for it, but not going to find. And Roshan about to respawn. This could be as TongFu walk in to scout it out.
Do you think they buy back on the... I mean, they have a courier in there, so they know it's going to be up. They're actually taking the courier back now.
Ward, and we'll scout Roshan. There we go.
All right. But Lin is the only one out here at the moment, actually.
Yeah,
Yang is looking for it. Then the strike comes out. She gets pushed up onto the high ground, and they're both melee heroes.
Oh, boy. This has been... even the games before this game were just super entertaining, Dota. You know, whoever says games that don't matter should be played out, you just need to show them games like this. And don't forget Roshan.
It's too ridiculous.
You can't make this shit up, okay? You could try and write a script for some clowny Dota and you would not get this.
Well, all right. So who's taking the Aegis? Red's taking the Aegis. U9 doesn't have space for it.
I don't even know.
U9 needs to sell his SNY and buy a Monkey King bar. He needs that item so badly at this stage.
That win run is... He just needs to be able to stay online, because if you pop Satanic and you're trying to fight the win runner and then you just pop the evasion and win run, you've lost your Satanic. So I'm with you. And we'll see what the next couple of moves are going to be. For now, it's kind of make sure you have your buybacks probably, which is on cooldown for another 1.5 minutes for the Shadow Fiend, which is the big one on TongFu's side. And for the Dire side, Wind Ranger just about to reach it, so should be fairly safe there.
Yeah. So the question for TongFu now is that the last few fights where they've been doing decently, they've been the ones defending. And I feel like we still haven't really solved the problem of how do they go and actually push. So as much as they definitely want to go and make use of this Aegis, though it's only on the clockwork. Actually, I don't know if this changes the situation at all. I feel like neither team really wants to go and charge at the other one, because fighting near the base is where you put yourself at risk of buybacks, and you put yourself at risk of the defending team having better vision because they've established wards earlier. So this game is just getting really weird at this stage.
And there's always, and it feels like there's been a few places where Vici Gaming with their items could have maybe made a bit more. Like Lion not having a blink, picking up the heart, even Bristleback. Heart just seems like an item which you're getting more out of Skadi these days, or throwing some evasion. Again, Shadow Fiend does not have an MKB. You put some evasion
of his own.
Yeah. I don't feel like Heart is really a good item on it feels like super niche when you want to buy a Heart of Taras these days.
It feels like a very siege-oriented item, and this is definitely not a siege Dota game. Red, moving forward aggressively, TongFu are going to try and break this up somewhat as they go for a smoke, but they didn't really do the prep work. Lanes are not in a great position, and that's going to make it a little bit more obvious.
Especially when TongFu the one's kind of, at least for now, in the driver's seat with Aegis and Cheese. When you're not pushing out a lane like where mid is right now, or even bottom or top, that is just a kind of a dead giveaway. But Vici Gaming say, well, our lanes are pushed out. This is actually an okay time for them to go for a smoke. They're probably expecting TongFu to show up on the map fairly soon.
TongFu, do you all have TPs? Oh my god. God, there's only 2 TPs. It's only the cores.
I don't think they haven't seen the lack of TPs. They're just going for the pick-off.
But, I mean, they're just trying to force them back. U9 was clearing creeps mid lane. He's going to get hexed up. He gets stunned as well. Finger of Death comes out. They're focus firing him. And he's going to be brought down. He does have buyback available. But it is going to be forced out. And yeah, Kabu now getting bashed away at. He's going to be able to pop the Ghost Scepter. The SF buyback coming in. LPC looking for a good grip. Who's he found? The Chakrams will be able to finish off your Spirit Breaker. Lin focusing on Melody Lovers on the sidelines. But the Ghost Scepter, along with the Yules, are going to make it difficult for Lin to actually get anything done. Nice Force Staff does dodge out of the way of the hookshot. But Red's still looking for more. Meanwhile, down bottom, Bristleback caught out by 4. He's still pretty tanky, but it looks like his team is not going to come back and save him.
Cost him a Shadow Fiend buyback, but this fight will turn out pretty decent for TongFu, but I don't know how much they're going to want to go push now. Without Shadow Fiend buyback, if he dies again, that's potentially game loss right there. And
but I think they have. I think they have to force the VGP buybacks.
Yeah, they probably want to, but they need to make sure they do that without getting caught by a shackle shot on their retreat, which is
that's
same
definitely
with like a Lion. Well, again, Lion no blink dagger. This is you want to catch them as they retreat out when you buy back, and not having blink daggers really makes that a bit trickier. But well.
Cabo has 6k gold, so
Hex,
what does he buy?
Maybe?
Yeah, I felt BKB was still on the cards not too long ago, but slots are starting to become somewhat limited. Yeah, he's going to pick up
is Octarine Core possible? No, that's... you don't get Octarine Core from that. You get, Hex...
Yeah, I think it's Hex. You
Lincoln's.
could also get a Lincoln's. Yeah. If they just want to throw... If he's really worried and they want to go and end the game right now, he could buy Lincoln's and put it on the Shadow Fiend, but he's only bought the Void Stone, so I think it's probably just the Hex. Here.
No. And yeah, he's headed to the secret shop, so that's going to be something he can complete there, although he's not going to do so just yet. We'll hold on to it for now. But we'll be ready to complete that once he has money for buyback as well as the full Scythe of Vice. So TongFu need to make sure they keep these lanes pushed out as much as possible, and actually will give up his buyback money and buy that Scythe of Vice. Does create... At this point, I think TongFu are going to be recognizing the fact they have no buyback on Shadow Fiend, no buyback on Timbersaw, and play very cautiously.
No,
you think they're going to go all in and fight? Or?
I feel like they're somewhat at this point all in. I don't know if they can actually farm for buyback. They're going to TP down bottom. They found Yang with the Hex. A couple of Raikus coming out. Spirit Break, however, has the Silver Edge, and no one has room for anti-invis 65 minutes into the game. So Silver Edge is actually going to save the Spirit Breaker's life.
Get better over time. Well, I guess you look for those solo pickoffs, and you need the Bane there.
It's that late game Bone 7 Shadow Blade on Legion Commander.
7th item Shadow Blade.
Yeah.
Works wonders.
Radiant
Yeah, even the support inventories are starting to get a little bit cramped here. We've got Courier randomly dying to creeps on mid lane, but looks like still managed to make its delivery. I think that was Boots of Travel 2 for the Shadow Fiend potentially. There's a charge coming in mid. VGP grouping up. What does the Wind Ranger have? Hasn't really added any new items. Just sitting on 4.2k gold.
I mean, importantly for them, they have buybacks on their side, and they can go and try and find a pick off, take a fight. If they kill Shadow Fiend, they're looking wonderful. Timbersaw in the same boat. They may not know about Timbersaw's buyback status, but something they could maybe guess about based on the Scythe pickup.
Yeah, and
they also have a fresh Lotus Orb, by the way, on the Bounty Hunter.
Oh yeah, I think that's a pretty good pickup.
This is what, Laguna Blades, Fiend's Grips.
Yeah, I think Fiend's Grip is probably just the big one. The Bristleback's been having trouble getting controlled. Even a Nightmare just buying 1 or 2 seconds as well is also a really big issue. But I mean, he's still going to end up being Nightmared, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. What else is going on? We've still got a cheese over on red. Let's have a look at the overall item status right now. Nothing really all that new. I mean, the last couple of minutes have been a few buybacks. I don't think VGP have really been farming all that much, just trying to stay safe and grouped up, since they don't really have any vision on the map either. If you have a look, not a dire ward in sight. TongFu did actually do a very good job of going out and getting rid of all of the dire wards and making sure that they do feel a little bit more safe. And
the line's going to be almost too... Well, he's moving around a bit in his own jungle, but hasn't been able to venture out and catch these Radiant wards, which have been up for most of their full duration so far. So for TongFu, having time to just get their buybacks back, Shadow Fiend, 1,500 gold and 2.5 minutes away from that buyback cooldown. So still have a bit of room to grow before they get to that point. And also kind of reaching that weird late game stage where you get to 78 minutes in, Roshan suddenly becomes less and less important because all your carries, your main core heroes suddenly get completely 6-slotted. I guess SF can drop it S and Y, and you probably would want to for something like an Aegis, but it really doesn't feel like Aegis is as high an impact for as a sieging item as it once was. Yeah,
definitely not. And I think this is where even we need to start looking towards the supports and talking about, okay, what is the cap for all of these heroes?
Melody Lovers almost has a Hex.
Yeah, that's exactly who I'm looking at the moment. He's got a bunch of current gold. The Spirit Breaker is getting bigger as well. I mean, like we were talking about, I think a Monkey King bar would work wonders for him. Lion, 68 minutes into the game, picks up a Blink Dagger.
Bravo. Had to sell his wand. He didn't have room for it earlier.
Yeah.
And
is it the latest ever Blink Dagger? I mean, obviously, if you never get it,
yeah,
it's whatever.
I feel like it has to be.
I feel like this probably has to be the latest ever
for Lion,
on Lion. But anyway, so he's finally got that up.
I feel like Bounties could have maybe transitioned more into a better fighting build, like a BKB. It's easy to say that now because the game's dragged as much as it has, but having like a BKB, I guess they haven't gotten AC on their team. I guess they've got the AC on Bristle.
Yeah, it's on Bristle. That's part of the reason that the Spirit Breaker went for the Moon Shard.
Yeah. I guess we're gonna get to the point where people start eating the Moon Shards, maybe.
Yeah.
So Aegis and Cheese. Wind Ranger drops 4-star for the Aegis, which has been a pretty important item to get out of the cogs here, but maybe just thinking can rely on the Lion as well as the Bounty Hunter to use their 4-stars.
Yeah, some cheese there. That's going to be picked up by Dogfights. The 4-step gets left behind in the pit, but the Courier is going to come and grab that. And with the Aegis and the cheese, looks like VGP gearing up to push into the base. They've got Boots of Travel on the Wind Ranger and the Bristle, so they could... Wind Ranger's got 3 lives and Bristleback has 2 at this stage.
Okay, well, we'll see what the next move is going to be. Vici Gaming Potential. Do you want to make a play towards bottom lane? There's no T2 towers left, so if they can get into the base, they can go for all 3 lanes, try and take mega creeps here, but there's going to be TongFu ready on the high ground to try and mount their own defense. Lina still with buyback, doesn't buy the completed Scythe of Ice, does have the money for it, but opts to just pick up the Mystic Staff for now. No, actually sending the crew out. May look to pick up the Ulti Orb. We'll have to wait and see. Still a smoke available on the Radiant side as well. A couple smokes. Wow, you've got 2 smokes left at 70 minutes? That's unheard of. 1 on the Courier and 1 in the shop. That is... Alright.
Wow.
Wind Ranger TP's... Oh no, Walk's Home has Boots of Travel still available.
What? Okay, so... Both teams are just so afraid at this stage because late game Dota is it's a totally different game. It honestly, like, not even really Dota anymore. Let's look at buyback status. Shadowfiend is a tiny bit short, but he's about to have it. KongFu is 900 short, so he might not have it for this next fight. Like we said, there's multiple lives on VGP between buying back and coming back with the Boots of Travel. And let's see how heavily VGP commit here. Just going to send the Windrunner up to begin with.
Thought about charging as well into the Shadowfiend, but just try and create distractions for Windrunner to poke at buildings. Maybe even consider something like a bit of split push play, but for now, they're into the high ground. They're doing damage to the tier 3 tower. Brisk back on the front lines. Not someone that TongFu want to try and focus down first.
LPC really wants to try and get a good duration off on the Fiend Script here. The Cogs are going to catch out 2. Focus fire. They land the Shackle again. Lin continues to make these plays, and Unai getting caught out, tries to get off the Rec Room, but Yang bashing away with his Moonshot, pops the Blade Mob with the Satanic, fires back in the opposite direction, and Unai will be able to heal up LPC. The only casualty of war thus far as VGP alternate between zoning out TongFu and focusing on the barracks here, playing some objective-based Dota. XLL trapped inside of the Cogs, faces the Laguna Blade, and he will be brought down by some right-clicks. Yang still giving Shadowfiend a very hard time, but a Yule Scepter opens up some space. Ling still right-clicking away and does manage to finish off the SF with his immediate buyback. And now the Wind Ranger caught in the middle of everyone. VGP just trying to finish off this lane of racks as Bristleback rejoins the fight. Wind Ranger will be able to find a gap in the midst of everything and return back to her team. The Earth Spike catches out 3. Kabu's still shackled up, and the charge is on 4. James blinks off to the side, gets the Hex on the Melody Lovers. Kabu timber chaining a little bit further away as he does find that kill on the Spirit Breaker with the Chakram. XLL now.
Oh,
it's another 3-hero Earth Spike. James.
He doesn't want to be shown up by this Wind Ranger. He says, I can stun more heroes than you can stun with my spells. And now Red taking heavy damage to the front range. That Blade Mail not going to work against the BKB. The TP's coming back in, and Kabu has his work cut out for him to try and fight his way out of this one. He's trying to go in on Yang. Yang's got the Silver Edge to try and escape, and Lin in the backlines has buyback. He may just look to throw away his life for this one. As SF, if he dies, he has no buyback, and Kabu will lose the battle versus Lin. The Chakram going to miss. Power shot stakes him out. Great play from Lin. As Shadowfiend has healed himself back up with the Satanic Shackle, not going to land for once as Lin gets raised down. And this is it. Do you buy back and go for the GG, or do you just let things settle? And it looks like Lin is not going to overextend. Fiend's Grip comes out. That's the second one of this fight as James brought down on the side. That's 4 dead for Vici Gaming Potential. XLL, TP out, barely escapes. Oh boy. 1 lane extra claim by Vici Gaming Potential.
And 4 buybacks used by
TongFu. Everybody
2 buybacks
loses. Damage done.
2 hexes from Kabu. Like, oh my
I love
word.
the damage done. 25k to 24k damage done. Who knows?
When you throw like 8 or 9 bodies in from each side, it turns out that you have to do a lot of damage.
It could have gone a lot better. TongFu, like that Shackle at the start, catching the Bane did not BKB when he cast Grip, which really hurt TongFu a bit there.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things, like you just picked up the item, you've not been thinking about using it all game long, and you see a Grip opportunity and it's like, oh crap, did not BKB.
And TongFu, I think they at least suspect that this Windrunner has buyback available, though it's hard to keep track of everything at this stage. But they pop the Aegis, and
they'd like to force it out, even if whether it's up or not. They want to try and force it out. But the big thing is not getting caught out on the retreat. Lion, the big hero that can make that happen with a Blink 4-star, but for now he's still on the sidelines. Even Bounty Hunter tracks can be very annoying at this point.
Dogfight just puts the Lotus Orb on himself, runs forward. I think he's trying to bait out the Hex from Kabu. Going to try and buy a little bit of time. Glyph's already been used. That's another tier 3 down, but
no buyback from Wind Ranger too, which puts TongFu in a really tough position. Should another push come out. Oh, and there's Daedalus. Lin now really starts to pack a punch with this item.
Daedalus and Lin still has buyback.
Yep, so they're going to smoke up, and it looks like they want to make a play immediately and try and end the game off of this, knowing that TongFu are buyback starved. No one on the Radiant side with a buyback at this point. Not going to wait around for Roshan or anything. They realize that this is a big opportunity for them, and they've got 3 buybacks on their side. It's not just Lin. They've got buyback on the supports as well, who, I don't know, maybe Lion like buys back, sells his heart to buy some Boots of Travel or something so he can get back in, but they're trying to find that pickup. But it seems TongFu somewhat aware of the missing heroes on the map.
TongFu going to try and catch this outside of the base. They're smoking up as well, making their way out. They've got 2 hexes leading the way. It's Kabu and Melody Lovers. Probably already hovering over the fog, just waiting to see anyone pop out. BGP waiting on the side here. Who's going to get the better angle of initiation? Red comes in. He gets the hook off onto two. Cogs as well. Lin trapped with the Fiend Script. They're getting a good channel off this time around. Cogs bouncing it back a little bit further as well. Mountain Lovers is the first to drop as the Bounty Hunter also takes a spill. Buys back immediately. Lin, however, won't be able to get the right clicks off this time around as Red jams the second hook shot and will find himself a double. The fight continues to split up as James dancing around in the back line, still has Earth Spike and Hex available. Buybacks coming in as XLL will continue this fight. LPC has a nightmare and just going to put himself under to try and survive, but will end up being brought down. XLL
Lin's
trying to kite back towards the Bounty Hunter. Lin's back on the top side. Hook goes back into the base as U9 continues to be charged, and with 3 heroes dead, this might just be it.
This is looking bad. 2 versus 5 now, and everything kind of online for the Vici Gaming Potential team. Yang gonna go in the base, and it's a throne exposed as it looks like this is the end. Game 1 wrapped up. Vici Gaming Potential win some Dota 2.
And with that, that's gonna end TongFu's hopes as well. They needed to sweep to be able to advance, and well, there you go. What a clown fest! The bash onto the high ground, the lion heart, James sitting there mana draining a creep. There were some super Clown Town moments here, but
not the region you would expect that from as well.